Okay, look at that. We've got a microphone, we've got a camera, and it appears to be working. Wow. So, thank you guys for hanging tight and having some patience while I work through some issues here. I can't even describe exactly what the issues were. But all I know is that I had to actually exit StarCraft to get OBS streaming correctly. So, let's hope that when I start StarCraft this time, it doesn't just collapse everything. It seemed to be a problem with audio. There was a recent patch, and in that patch there was a fix for the voice chat not working, which, if you remember, the last time I did a stream with Goblin Juggler where he was on another machine on my network, we had problems with voice chat. Well, that's fixed, but apparently that's creating other problems, at least from the streaming point of view. So, it's not often that when you do a live show you get to do your whole introduction over again, so I'm going to give this a shot. Welcome to Incognito TV. This is episode 5 of Cheap Love, where we explore the nitty-gritty, the dirty, the steamy, the also difficult to understand economic relationships within this game that we call StarCraft. And to help us do that, we're going to set the mood with a little bit of romantic fiction that we picked up on the cheap from Amazon. We're talking about Leah's Seduction 1, which is available on Amazon for nothing. You just got to click the button and download it. It's a compelling read so far. We're entering into Chapter 2, and we're starting to pick up some things. We're starting to get some juiciness happening. Leah has met a man who she finds quite attractive, and he's about to give a presentation at a symposium that they are both attending. Apparently this man is a very successful fashion businessman, and Leah works in the fashion world. She's got a small apartment where the staircase doubles as a bookshelf, maximizing that, all those precious resources to their fullest extent. And also wrestling with the question of how to prioritize around her preferences, which at the moment, or at least up until this point, has been a preference for her career over interpersonal relationships, particularly of the romantic variety. But I have a feeling that that's about to change, and I'm going to move forward like as if there haven't been any technical problems today. I'm going to move forward like as if I'm going to open StarCraft and everything's going to be fine, because that's the sort of hope that I have, and I want to live that hope. So let's see what's going on with Leah and Gianni. All right. So in order to make good eye contact and still read, I'm placing I'm placing the text over the chat window, so I'll move it when we're done. Anyway, here we are, Leah's Seduction, Chapter 2. Gianni gave his presentation just as he'd rehearsed it, but his mind was elsewhere. It was unusual for him to be anything less than completely focused, but he barely heard the other presenters as they droned on about the state of the industry. Remembering the encounter in the lobby, he hoped he hadn't given anything away. What could he be giving away? I don't know. As far as he knew, he hadn't so much as flinched, which was amazing and could only be credited to his extensive practice at maintaining his professional demeanor. Something that I probably need to work on a little bit. Rarely did anything rattle him, but she had. Still not sure he had heard correctly, Gianni went over the introduction once again. He could still hear her voice, and it sent a tendril of anxiety through him. But that good anxiety I'm imagining. Leah Ivers, she had said. But it couldn't be the same person. The woman he had just met was very average, at best. She had long, blondish hair that held no style, and if she wore makeup at all, it did nothing to enhance her features. Keep together here, incognito. And that dress. How could a woman in the fashion industry attend a renowned event wearing a black and white lace dress that hadn't even been in style the year it had been mass produced? Oh, burn! Harsh burn! Oh, so let's think about this a second. I want to bring in some commentary, right? Ryan Hartbeard? Hartbeard. I called you Hartbeard. Bard. Ryan Hart Bard. You're a bard. Okay. Yikes is right. That's what I've been trying to say since fumbling on your name. Yikes is right. Alright, so let's think about this for a moment. I mean, so far I've tried to keep my own value judgments out of this reading, because that doesn't really serve any purpose, right? We're trying to relate, right? We're trying to understand, and it's difficult to do that when you come out of the gate with a value judgment. All right. So, what we're dealing with here is a woman who clearly works so hard that all kinds of other things in her life suffers. Right? There's only so much time, which is a resource, to go around and to get the things done that need to be done, at least within her value system. All right, Gianni, who's clearly a figurehead, has much more of a preference toward making sure that all of the things that go along with being this figurehead or leader are in order. Okay, and whether that's a good decision or a bad decision it's difficult to know with the information that we have available. But yeah, that was a sick burn. And so there are a couple of things that we can think about just in terms of StarCraft here, right? We're always in a position where we have lots of choices that we could make in a game. Some are going to be better than others. Some are going to be bad. And sometimes we can analyze those conditions ahead of time and come up with, conclusions that have a higher probability of success. And then we have to practice making those judgments on the fly. And we also have to juggle the different resources and the different assets that we can create in a game to work toward our objective of winning. And also within the idea of practice, we have to juggle the time we have available and apply that resource in the most effective way possible, right? Not everybody has the most time. What I'm saying is that one person might have an hour to play, another might have 6 hours to play in a given day or in a week or in a month. And so we have to think about optimizing the use of time toward our goal. Okay. And also, sometimes when we're playing StarCraft, we feel like dishing out the sick burn, right? And personally, I'm of the I don't sick burn people I don't know. I will talk trash amongst friends when that's a safe place to do that and everybody's comfortable with each other. I really do make an effort not to burn people I don't know. Sometimes I might say things that, from a certain point of view, might come off that way. Okay, but there's a thing here to think about. For example, the other day I was playing a game where my opponent made a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek remark about a Marine push that I did that obviously wasn't going to end the game, and they were like, "No," right? I'm like, okay, well, of course not, but I did manage to get a couple of creep tumors and poke at your queen and make you micro, so there's things. And that's cool. I'm fine with that. And then I set up a little contain to make sure that there was some resistance if they tried to take a third. And again, I was doing step 2 of the staircase, so all I had were Marines, and then my opponent was going Roach on 2 bases. And then I did this little surround move, and it was pretty poorly, derpily executed, but it made my Marines trade better than they would have otherwise, okay? And my opponent was like, that's surround, though. Right? And, and the tone of the comment was pretty clear that, making fun of my micro, right? And I was like, I try. Don't care. Now, when this gets really interesting is I get burned even though I won. So, my opponent never took a third, and if I'm not mistaken, I had 4 active mining bases, and a 5th on the way, and probably even a 6th on the way at that point. And my opponent made a remark about, I don't understand how you can keep up that kind of economy. And my response was, it's the power of macro! Because it was the power of macro. And the response from my opponent was, but you're not even that good. Which made me laugh so hard. Not because I feel like my opponent should be degraded in any way. I don't. It made me laugh hard because of the context. The context was somebody who just got beat by somebody that they felt wasn't even that good. And and okay, my opponent was right. My micro, if we're going to judge on my micro, was terrible. Did I have a strategy? Yes, I had a strategy. Did it look like something that you would see on a WCS match? No, it did not. Although that would make my day. But there was some strategy happening. I was like, okay, you're on 2 bases, you're building roaches, I have to out macro you, and I have to contain you. And so to keep my advantage, I put stuff in the way of my opponent getting a third. I was controlling both of the spots that a third could easily be taken, and there was another spot, but it would be harder. And I was occasionally dropping a scan over there to make sure that it didn't happen. And then I followed up with a big push and just rolled over his second and his main. So yeah, there was strategy. There was a little bit of micro that helped me get better trades out of an already inefficient trade. Right, Marines versus Roaches is not a good matchup for the Marine, especially when there's nothing in front of them tanking that Roach damage. So this made me think about what actually happened, because my opponent was confused. They were confused. They're like, this guy just beat me, and I don't get why. Right? Confusion and ignorance. I mean, when I say ignorance, I just mean that not knowing a thing can bring out some pretty negative qualities. And I'm not saying that my opponent was necessarily being negative. They could have just been having a lulls, and that's okay. But it's a good thing to think about. It's a good thing to think about when you're feeling that sort of aggression toward your opponent, especially when they've won. It's probably because you don't understand what happened. And making an effort to understand is going to be beneficial to you as a player, right? And in this case, it was just a beautiful illustration of macro wins, right? All the time. Look at them salt shakers. That's right, Ryan. Harp Bard, right? All that salt. I sent the player a message after the game and said, basically what you witnessed was step 2 of the staircase method. You should check it out. Jack Attack created it. If you're curious what actually happened, that will explain it. So I don't. It said that they were offline, so maybe they never got the message. But hopefully, I've done my part to help somebody understand something that confused them. And so now I'm in a state of confusion about step 3 of the staircase method, and today we are going to figure that out, or we're going to start the process of figuring out step 3. The great thing about step 1 and step 2 is that the method sort of gives you everything you need to be successful with step 1 and step 2, or at least to maximize the chance of you being successful. Step 3 introduces gas, and when you do that, a whole new world of choices opens up. And there aren't any hard and fast rules built into the method about how to spend your gas other than the units you're allowed to have at a given step. So step 3 for Terran is SCVs, Marines, Hellions, Hellbats. Okay, so it's fairly trivial just to think about how much gas do we need per factory to pump out Hellions or Hellbats reactor. That's not really a complex thing to try to figure out. But where it does get complex is in regard to upgrades. Timing the amount of gas that you're collecting with the upgrade spending is something to work out, and something I've never really worked out. There are builds that say, oh, well, build your engineering bay, here, let's go back. Build your gas geyser at 16 supply, and then your second one at 24, or whatever it might be, 22, or take both of them at 16, or take both of them at 22, whatever it is. It's working out that timing for the rest of the build and anticipating the amount of gas you need to spend, and that's why it's optimized, right? That's what optimization is talking about. It's talking about making sure that you just have what you need for when you need it. And there isn't really an optimization for Marines with upgrades with a few Hellbats thrown in, right? So I'm kind of feeling it out. I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do some experiments, and I want to focus on Marines plus upgrades. And with upgrades, I mean my bio upgrades from the engineering bay, as well as combat shields and stim. Okay, and there's going to be lots of strategic decisions about which come first and all of that, and how early to take the engineering bay, because we can get it super early. We also need to do things like work out when to take our factory so that we can go straight into 2-2. So we're going to start with just Marines upgrades from the engineering bay, and that's it, and figure out a good timing. Maybe we'll do something like, well, let's get 3 barracks and then an engineering bay, right? And when do I need to take gas in order to have enough, 100 gas at least, for that first upgrade as soon as the engineering bay is done. Okay, we could math that out, but let's do the existential thing and experience it for ourselves. Now, this is where things get risky. I'm going to click this button on my computer that opens StarCraft 2, and hopefully my stream doesn't blow up. If it does, I don't know a solution, and that means things are going to get weird, so hopefully I've said things that are interesting enough for the time being. Alright, here we go. Cross your fingers, everybody. Do whatever it is. Maybe a little rain dance. I don't know. Maybe a little arm wave. Whatever it is, we're hitting this button, and hopefully we can still stream. I don't know. I don't really feel like doing this, but I have to, because I have to game on Twitch, or Twitch will get mad. Alright. Things are happening. Alright, well, there's my Battle.net client. Okay. I'm going to hit the play button now. Okay. We got a little circle-y thing. We got the loading screen, initializing the maps. Yeah, I see StarCraft 2 on my OBS window, so it's just poking up there. I can't see the whole screen because of my Battle.net client's in the way. We're loading. Authenticating. Okay. So, it does not appear as though anything has exploded, which is good. Now I'm going to do the thing where I Alt-Tab because that has to work too, so I got to do it. Is it still working? Sweet! Oh, okay. Awesome. Here we go. Okay, cool. Sweet. We're streaming. And man, we are so behind schedule. Alright, thanks Nanus. I don't know what the buffering's up with. I'm not dropping frames or anything on my end. I'm at 0% for the entirety of the broadcast so far, which has been 20 minutes. So maybe the problem's local or maybe it's Twitch. I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be me. I hope that gets sorted out for you. I like having you around, man. Okay, so we need to work out the economic relationships, the interplay between our gas and our upgrade spending in step 3 of the staircase method. Because right now I feel like I'm flailing about mindlessly, and that's making it difficult to focus on the macro, and it's making it difficult to have any chance of winning. And the thing is I do like to win. Although it's not the focus of the staircase method in the short term. Custom games. I'm going to, yep, there we go. We're going to do that. And we'll go with the standard overgrowth, right? I feel like that is the most neutral map in all of StarCraft, potentially. I don't know. I don't know all the maps. There's so many maps. So we're going to get in here and we're going to do some experimentation. We're going to try some new things and see what happens. And I've got my handy dandy notebook, so we're going to take some notes. And I do the old-fashioned paper and pen method of note taking. And you're probably thinking, dude, you're at a computer. Why use such archaic tools? One is that the process of writing, it tends to feel like I'm making more of a connection with the information. It's a physical thing that requires some skill. I don't know, typing does too. There's holes in this theory. I know. The other reason is that I don't really want to alt-tab out of StarCraft to be able to take notes, because things get wonky sometimes, and I'm trying to minimize wonk. And any build is fine. Any opponent is fine as well. I don't know why I've got the yawns, but all of a sudden I do. It's probably because I'm breathing all my hot air. And we're gonna, let's make a plan before we hit start. We're gonna do 3 barracks as quickly as we can afford them, using all the step 1 and step 2 sort of algorithms to make it sound way more complicated than it is, as far as when to get barracks, when to get another command center, all that stuff. And we're going to take that for our first gas when the 3rd barracks is under construction. Okay, so let me write this down. Let's say iteration 1. Iteration 1. 2 racks. And then 3rd racks. And refinery. Okay, and then NG Bay. Okay. Alright, so we should have 3 barracks sort of about to be ready. Exactly. Ryan Harpard notes that my pen and paper notebook cannot crash or become corrupted. I mean, I guess I could throw it off the table. Or spill water on it. So then we're gonna see if we have enough of that Vespian gas to get our first upgrade when the engineering bay finishes. My guess is that's not going to be quite soon enough, but We'll see. We'll see. We're just taking notes. We're exploring the game. We're exploring the relationships between Vespian gas and when we build that geyser thing, and our ability to pump out the upgrades. All right. So we don't need to be highly precise in all of this. We need to get the generals, the general feel of it, and then we can refine it from there if we'd like. Okay. That random AI. It's a thing. Yes. I agree, it is a lesson in mitigating risk. So we're just going to do things that look like step 1 and step 2 of the staircase method, which means we're going to do things that make a whole lot of sense from a maximizing macro point of view. Alright? And just going to do things that are habitual, like walling off, because no other real reason. There's no need. We're going to do things like set our cameras.
SCV ready.
Alright. So, what we're trying to do is figure out when do we need to plant our gas, our extractor, our assimilator,
SCV ready.
our thing that gets the gas out of the ground. When do we need to plant that if we're doing step 3 of the staircase method and we're focusing on
Additional supply.
Marines with upgrades? Alright, so we're going to build 2 barracks
Not enough
before
minerals.
we get our first geyser. And that probably also means that it's going to mess with our second base timing a little bit. So that's an interesting thing to think about here. I didn't consider that in my pre-analysis, so that's something that maybe we can hone in on at another time. And we're going to be getting our orbital command at 15. You know what? We're going to take fast expansion. We are.
SCV ready.
Alright, and there's a little bit of delay, and I attribute that delay there to not taking a gas at 12. Alright? I think that makes some sense.
Yo.
Alright, and we are going to still do things like build a couple of Marines.
Bad news.
Alright, we're floating some minerals, so we're going to get our next command center going here.
Go ahead. Big job, huh?
There it is.
Upgrade complete.
We're going to drop our mules,
Not enough
build our
minerals.
Marines.
This better be good.
That was weird.
You got it.
It was a timing thing, I think.
SCV ready.
Alright, do we need another thing yet? No, not quite yet. Alright, but we can now get our second barracks going, so we're going to do that.
SCV ready.
And build a supply depot out here, get ourselves some vision. Just doing things that make sense to help build our patterns while we're also doing this little test. Build our Marines, our SCVs. Cool. Alright, and we're going to get our third barracks and refinery at around the same time, which should be about
SCV ready.
now. Alright, so that's like 23 supply-ish.
Armed and ready.
Ish.
SCV ready.
Alright, and can we afford an engineering bay? Yes, we can. So we're going to get it. And we're also going to get our orbital command on our second.
SCV ready.
Not enough minerals.
Alright, and we're going to load up that refinery. And now we're going to be sitting on waiting for that 100 gas.
SCV ready.
We're going to keep doing things that make sense in the meantime.
Want a piece of me, boy?
We're now at optimal mineral saturation. There's the engineering bay. We're about halfway to having the gas for it. So, what that means is we need to take our first gas sooner. Okay. So I'm trying to not tie this to supply numbers. I'm trying to time this to when stuff is happening, because, like for example, I'm trying like our first iteration. We're going to take our first refinery when we build our third barracks. It was roughly around that time. I had to get orbital command on the second, all of that stuff. So I'm trying to find a thing that's happening to tie this to, because then it makes sense in other situations, rather than tying it to supply. So what we learned is that we need to get it a bit quicker. Not a whole lot quicker, just a bit quicker. If we want to have enough gas for that engineering bay to immediately become productive. All right? So, iteration 1 is a fail. Okay? We had about 50 gas when the NG bay was done. And we took the engineering bay and the refinery at about the same time. So, iteration 2, as I stare at my notebook, iteration 2 is we're going to go two racks. So here, let's be a little more precise. We're going to go 1 racks, and then we're going to do command center, and well, there. Actually, that's going to be orbital, and then command center, and then second racks and refinery, and then we're going to do third racks and NG bay. Alright, so this is iteration 2. And if we have a little more gas than what we're aiming for, I think that is a much better outcome. Because then we can think about timing our factory and seeing how that lines up with getting an armory. Stuff like that. So we'll see. Let's figure it out. Okay. So we need to go ahead and restart our scenario. That's what we're going to do. We're going to restart it. And once we're done exploring some of this, I feel like I owe you guys some more streaming because of the late start and all the technical difficulties. So we're going to get on the ladder once we've got a little better handle on how to open up with this Marine upgrade play at step 3 of the staircase method. Alright, so now we're going to do our second test iteration. Going to go 1 barracks, orbital, command center, and then our second barracks, and we're going to drop a refinery around that same time. Get our third barracks and an engineering bay at about the same time, and hopefully that'll help us get that +1 upgrade moving very quickly. And that's really what I'm going for. I'm trying to go for an early 1-1 with these Marines, really early. Really early. Think about, I don't know, a dozen or so Marines at around 8 minutes with 1-1. 7.5 minutes maybe. Some things could get done. And no, that's not like a long-term, I'm going to play StarCraft this way kind of thing. I'm doing step 3 of the staircase method, but I want to be as effective as I can and learn as much as I can while I'm doing this practice. So let's try iteration 2. Here we go. I'm really glad the computers can actually figure all this stuff out for us, but I like the experience of working through them and finding the little things through play, rather than through mechanisms. And I'm not going to tell the easy AI to have good luck or to have fun, because that would be cruel and unusual punishment for my unconscious opponent. Yeah, I went there. Alright, here is the most awesome part of the game, where we get to look at SCVs getting built. And a lot of this part of the game, it seems, is going to kind of go away in Legacy of the Void, and I'm very excited about the prospect of that happening. I don't know if it really will, because, you never know how a system is going to work until you put it into place, but it would seem that a lot of the, waiting on the basic first supply depot, building SCVs stuff is sort of going to go away. You're going to have more SCVs to start with in Legacy of the Void. And I think that's a cool change. We'll see how it
Additional
plays out.
supply depots required.
Alright, so here's our first barracks
Not enough minerals.
in our pseudo build order. It is a build order. I don't need to call it a pseudo build order. It is a build order. It may be a little bit of nonsense, but that's a different criticism altogether. But we're trying to find something that makes sense for step 3 of the staircase method to optimize our usage of gas resources. We're going to take our orbital command as soon as we can. It'll be 15-ish supply. There will be a little bit of a delay, and I don't like that delay, but that's because we're not taking a gas at 12. So our, the Reaper Fast Expand build is no longer optimal. Yeah. Alright. So, when this is all done, there's that little delay I'm talking about. It's not enough for an SCV, but we're getting it as soon as we can. We're going to build this supply depot right now, and then tell this SCV to go down here. What are we doing next is we're getting our second command center constructed up here on the safe high ground. We're going to build a marine, because we need that, and I got it started a little late, so hopefully it won't throw things off too badly. And now we have
Upgrade
enough
complete.
for our second, so we're going to go ahead and start constructing it. We're also going to drop our newly acquired Mule Tech. Bam, just like that. And we're going to keep our production going. And let's see, our second barracks as soon as we can afford it. So that's right now. Alright. Got an SCV in production. Got a Marine in production. All of that is good. All of that is good. And now we're going to take our refinery. Alright, and then a third barracks and an engineering bay. So the barracks is going to come first. And that's going to be right about now-ish. Alright, there it is.
Not enough minerals.
Boom, and we're going to load up that refinery. Now we've got enough for our engineering bay. There it is.
Not enough
We're just going to keep
minerals.
building stuff like we normally would. Spent a little bit too much money, because now we got to wait for our resources for our orbital.
Not enough minerals.
Alright, we're still spending our minerals quite well. And there we go. That's a lot more reasonable. That's a lot more reasonable. We're still not quite lined up, but there we go. We're starting +1 at 5 minutes and 40. That is an early start to +1, in my opinion. So I feel like this can work. Alright, now the next... So I'm going to call this this working. At least for the first phase, right? This first chunk, we're going to basically do a 1 barracks fast expand, get our second barracks, and then as soon as we can afford it, our first refinery, and our third barracks, and then as soon as we can afford it, our engineering bay. And there's a very short delay time between having enough gas for the first upgrade and the engineering bay finishing, but I feel like it's an acceptable gap. Right? We're not trying to highly optimize. We're just trying to get ourselves in the ballpark, and then we can tweak as we go. All right. So this is yes working. All right. Now the next question is, when do we take our second gas? Well, let's see. What are we going to be using the gas for? We're going to be using it primarily for upgrades. In order to do that, though, we will need a factory, which is 100 gas, and we're going to need an armory, which I believe is also 100 gas, and like 150 minerals, I believe. We'll find out here in a second to make sure that my beliefs are based in reality. So we're going to need 200 gas just to get to Tier 2 upgrades, let alone getting our armor upgrade, which is another 100 gas. So that's 300 gas that I plan on spending between now and being able to click the button to purchase +2. That's quite a bit of gas, right? And what am I going to be doing right now whilst +1 is researching? I'm going to be building barracks and marines. Alright, so this is the next part where we're going to have to figure out what to do. Now, how do we approach it, right? This is a really, really interesting question. Well, let's see what happens. We've already made note that this particular basic opening is going to get us where we want to be in the early phase. Let's just sort of go with our gut and see how that goes, and then hit the pause button and see if we did anything that made some sense. Alright, so we're going to open up and build a supply depot right away, because that's about to be an issue. Our orbital command is about to finish, so we're going to have to drop that. We've got minerals for that supply depot and a couple of units, and so let's see. Let's think about this. We're going to want a factory at some point, but we're going marine focused. So how about this? Why don't we shoot toward something that looks familiar? Why don't we shoot toward 5 barracks on 2 bases with a factory and an armory and another engineering bay, right? So how are we going to get there? We're going to focus on the Marines, because this is going to be our attack. This is going to be the thing that lets us survive well enough to potentially win while we're staircasing. So we're going to focus on the barracks and the Marines. We've got upgrades rolling. If we have enough gas by the time +1 attack is done for getting the +1 defense, armor, whatever we want to call it, then things are good on 1 gas for those first 2 upgrades. If we get to having 5 barracks and we don't have enough gas for a factory, then we're probably going to be having to add a second gas at some point earlier, right? And we'll have to work that out. Okay, I'm talking it through to help give myself some structure in figuring this out. All right, here we go. Idle worker, supply depot. There we go. Building more SCVs, more Marines.
Minerals.
Taking a look at everything. Here we go. We can take our second now, so we're going to do that. Bam, there it is. Lower the depot, grab a couple of SCVs, transfer. Alright. Keep that Marine production happening. We've got 2 bases on the way, so we're actually going to go ahead and build another supply depot. We're going to check on the progress of our upgrades.
Not enough minerals.
And as soon as this lands, we're going to go mule heavy.
Not enough.
There it is.
Not enough minerals.
Alright, now, we've got 13 workers over there, so we don't want to rally out just yet.
Not
Alright, we've got 120 something gas, so we're going to have plenty for our second upgrade, and we may even be able to get a factory sooner rather than later. But we're not going to do that just yet, because we want to aim for this 5 barracks infrastructure first, and follow up with upgrades and tech later. Okay, after this we can start to rally out in a different fashion, but we need to
Additional supply depots required.
build supply
Additional
depots.
supply depots required.
Oh boy. Alright, that's fine.
Additional not enough minerals.
There we go. There's our army. Alright, how are we doing on spending?
Additional
Cool.
supply depots required.
How many barracks do we have? We have 6 barracks, so let's go ahead and get our factory. We can do that. We got 1 more barracks than we were aiming for. And we're going to be able to get this right as it's done. Isn't that awesome? That's great. That's cool.
Complete.
Alright, how are we doing on supply? Keep that rolling. Alright, we're floating quite a bit of minerals. Alright, let's make sure that everything is going where we want it to go. We've got this factory building. Alright, we can't build our armory yet until we have the factory completed. We want to start the armory about halfway through that upgrade. Alright, so we're going to start on our 3rd command center. And if this ends up working out, then I'm going to save this replay so I can actually get structure behind it. Alright? Oh, there's those rallies I was talking about. Marine spending. Supply depots. There we go. And mule dropping. And I might have misclicked. Alright, do we got enough for more barracks? We do. Alright, cool. We need to have a little bit of money left over for armory and second engineering bay. And I'm going to guess that this is when we need to get our second refinery going down.
Not enough minerals.
Yep, go to work. There you go.
Gotcha. Go ahead.
Build the supply depots. Okay.
Not
We're
enough
cranking
minerals.
through. We should be able to start +2 as soon as the armory is done. That is my guess right now. What do we want to do? We want to add on more barracks. Because we're going for the marine option. So we're building lots of marines. We're not building any gas units. So we do need to saturate. There we go. There we go. And keep them supply depots cranking. Alright, there we go.
Not enough minerals.
Not enough minerals,
Not
but we've
enough
got
minerals.
mules. So let's get some minerals.
Not enough energy.
There's one.
Not enough
We have enough
minerals.
gas. Yeah, we got enough gas. That's awesome. That worked out pretty well for my purposes for step 3 of the staircase method. We're oversaturating here, but we're going to transfer, so that's okay.
Not enough minerals.
Alright. Boom, look at them Marines. Alright, so where are we at with this? We just started +2 at, I don't know, it was about 11 minutes. Some time has gone by. I didn't check exactly. We started +2, and we've got, let's see, how many Marines? 64 Marines, guys, at 11 minutes and 38. Alright, so I feel like a lot of that worked out pretty well for our purposes, right? We went for 5 barracks, and then factory, armory, second engineering bay, put down the second refinery when the second engineering bay was built. So I'm going to sketch that out as iteration 2.b, right? And I am going to save this replay to make sure, and then I can pick up, yeah. Bear with me, I got to take notes, right? All right, so iteration 2b, 2.b is, the thing above, right? And then, what did I say? We went for 5 racks, and then factory, and then armory, and then second NG bay, and second refinery. Alright, and the reason I'm saying this works is that there wasn't any big hang-ups, right? Right? There wasn't any big block to being able to move forward with the plan. Is it going to be optimal? I don't think it's going to be optimal. I think there's lots of room for optimization in this. But at least it gives me sort of a structure to start with. Something to aim for that will roll smoothly through a game. And now the question is what about combat shields, right? What about tech labs? What about reactors? That's all going to eat into our gas. So with this particular starting point, this is naked barracks. I would say, given that we've got, at this point, some excess gas, all that gas should now be going into really developing our infrastructure and maybe sneaking in a tech lab with combat shields being researched. I'm not sure yet how I feel about STEM in this particular scenario because we don't have medevacs, and I think that conscious use of STEM could be really effective, but it could also really go sideways too. Like stemming a small group within a larger blob and having them focus something really important down, like that could be cool, and it would be cool practice for the micro. But I think that we've got ourselves a good starting point, at least to move forward and to find ways that we can optimize. All right, we've got about 10 minutes left for, the scheduled hour. So what I would like to do is save this replay, hop on the ladder, try out this sort of build with step 3 of the staircase, and then take a break, and then I'll come back and we can ram and jam on the ladder with step 3, because this is the week of macro. I'm playing catch up. We had some strange things happen over the last couple of weeks. We had the internet go down twice, which in like 7 years, it's the first time it's ever happened. We have Fios, and Fios is awesome. I recommend it, although Frontier's customer support could really use a makeover. And I mean technical support. Well, all of it just takes too long. Water heater exploded. Power went out a couple of weeks ago to a massive windstorm. So I've been a bit behind on my plan to get to top 8 gold. Like I should be top 8 gold like right now, so that I can be in range of platinum by the end of the season. And right now I'm skirting it. And so I'm trying to catch up with my macro practice. And macro practice, man, it's really good. It makes me feel so much more confident in my play, because it just reinforces all of the good habits of spending your resources, staying on top of your supply depots or whatever food that your particular race uses, and being aggressive. Right? When you play a limited unit composition, you've got to throw as much stuff as you can at your opponent as quickly as you can if you have any hope of winning the game. And I can't go into the game thinking, I'm going to lose. I mean, there are lots of scenarios, especially in TVT, with doing this, that there really shouldn't be a way for me to win in TVT. It's just, I find myself getting lucky or just catching an opportunity, and I get the win. Right? So, I'm looking for him. I'm going to take him, even though I'm practicing, even though I'm staircasing, even though the focus is the macro, and learning and really refining the skills and mindset and all of that. Still, look for the opportunity to win. I'm rambling. So, let's A-move these guys across the map and just win. And in the meantime, I'm going to hit buttons. We're going to get this sorted out. We're going to do a match on the ladder, and then I'm going to take a break.
SCV ready.
I'm going to make sure everything's in here, all right? Because not everything is.
What's going on? Huh?
Oh, don't need that. What we need to do is get this over here, which I don't really like this as a third. I'm kind of leaning this way on thirds now for this map. Depends on who I'm playing against and what they're doing, of course. But it's on my mind. I'm going to go ahead and get a reactor there, and we're going to cancel one of these and get a tech lab there, and crank out some more of those, and we're going to be transferring. I'm going to bank up a little bit of energy so that when we get that third in line,
Gotcha.
we can make use of it right away.
Add-on complete.
Practice a little bit of this. Spam out some reactors.
SCV ready.
Start shooting.
Add-on complete.
Alright. There we go. Transfer.
You scared me.
GG, yes. Okay. We're going to save this replay so I can use it as, something I can go back to and try to refine my thoughts on how to approach step 3 of the staircase method. Alright, so it auto saves, but we want to give it a good name. So we're going to go out here to replays and call this rename. I don't know why, but like I've got DJ Shadow on the brain at the moment. Step 3 staircase build-ish like thing. There we go. Alright, so that's our reference point. And I've taken my physical notes as well. So I'm going to go through those real quick out loud so it's reinforced in my mind before we hit the ladder and see what we can get done. Alright, so we're going to build, this is our build order. We're going to go barracks, orbital, second command center, second racks, and our first refinery at about the same time. Third racks and our first engineering bay about the same time. And then we're going to shoot for having 5 barracks in total, build a factory, build an armory, and then a second engineering bay and a second refinery about the same time. Alright, let's see how that goes. See if that works. See if I can keep my head together and execute that in a ladder game. Because who knows what's going to happen. I might get Banshee rushed. Alright. Let's go! I'm running out of water, so it's good that we're about to take a break. The only thing I wish is that I could put my notebook like right here, so I could look at it and then the screen. I need something like that. That would be hot. Or hung. Yeah. Just trying to find somebody that wants to experience Marines and upgrades. The matchmaking system knows what I'm doing. It really does. Alright. So we're going to try out our iteration 2.b of a build order for step 3 of the staircase method. Step 3 introduces gas and the given units. The given units are, the new units are Hellions and Hellbats in step 3. I'm not going to be using them a whole lot. I'm going to focus on Marines with quick upgrades. Quick, not necessarily the fastest, but quick. We're going to do a TVZ on Catalina. So once we got that basic infrastructure and those upgrades rolling, I might mix in some Hellbats. We'll see. We'll see. But we just want to see if we can maintain that sort of build order in a real game scenario. And if it makes any kind of sense. Maybe we want to push the engineering bay, sooner. Maybe we want to hit with an attack faster that actually has +1 attack in it, right? And we can structure around that, but it introduces other risks. Wow, this is taking forever to load. I'm still on the internet, right? Yeah, I am. Okay, here we go. A chill. All right, good luck, have fun. Thank you for playing. You're a baller. I'm sure of it. I'm sure you're amazing. Yep. Wow, that was a yep. So enthused. All right, I wonder how our friendly opponent is going to feel about our play. Any guesses? Any predictions?
SCV ready.
All right, let's see if I can actually make a wall on this little tiny ramp. I have been known to bork the wall on this map for some reason. Don't know why. I haven't analyzed it yet.
SCV ready.
All right, here we go. We're going to go for a supply depot. We're going to get our first barracks, and then we're going to go for expansions. And
SCV ready.
stuff. Alright, so we're getting our refinery when we build our second barracks. And we're getting our engineering bay when we build our third, or
Additional
around
supply
that.
depots required.
As close to that as we can make happen is the goal.
Not enough minerals.
Alright, and let's see how this plays.
I'm going.
Right? It's like asking the question, does it blend? This is absolutely a necessary thing to figure out. How does it play? Alright, so we're going to get our orbital command at around 15. And our second
SCV ready.
command center as soon as we can afford it. There's going to be a little bit of a delay in between our barracks finishing and our last SCV here that's going to come out before the orbital. And there's not much I think that we can do about that. I don't think there's enough time to build an additional SCV. And I'm not going to try that right now. I just don't... Yeah, I don't think so. There we go. Get a Marine out. Finish up the wall. There we go. Now, we're not scouting. We're not doing anything like that because it doesn't matter for what we're trying to accomplish. Here comes the Overlord. He's going to see a single barracks. He's going to see a morphing orbital command. He's going to know some things about what we're doing. And hopefully come to some conclusions about how to play.
Upgrade.
There we go. Come on, get all the way through. What's up with that? Marine, you shoot that. There we go. Cool. Oh, second base. Let's do it. There we go. Second barracks. Let's do it. Here we go. As soon as we got the money, we're going to get the refinery.
Not enough minerals.
Alright. Which means sacrificing a Marine. There we
Not
go.
enough minerals.
SCV ready.
You are going to go over there and be supply depot man. I don't know if I killed that
By the numbers, boys.
that Overlord, but I hope I did.
What's going on?
Boom. There we go. Okay.
SCV ready.
Saturate that gas. Doing it. And get that third barracks. We're doing it. And that engineering bay as soon as we can.
SCV ready.
We still got to build SCVs though. So do that. Still going to build Marines though. So we're going to do that. Alright.
SCV ready.
Oh. Wasn't paying attention for a split second. And missed the opportunity to get it down even
Not
quicker.
enough minerals.
Alright, there we go. How we doing on supply?
Not enough
I'm going to
minerals.
build a depot. Oh, just as my command center finished. How intuitively bad. Alright,
Not
awesome.
enough minerals.
there we go.
Not enough minerals.
Not enough minerals. It's a wonderful sound. I love that sound.
Ready.
And as soon as we have the minerals, we've got the gas. There it is. Yay, yay, yay. Now we're going to move up to 5 barracks and then get a factory. So we're going to do things like just
Not
build
enough
stuff.
minerals.
Alright.
Not
Yep.
enough minerals.
Still in the just building stuff phase.
Upgrade.
Dropping them. Oh, that was a waste. I'm gonna have a little bit of delayed saturation on this second base because of that. All right, we're gonna get more Marines. We're gonna get more barracks. All right. Okay.
SCV ready.
How are we doing on the saturation over here? Okay. Okay. That little run by. Trying to get the scouting information. Probably did. Probably did. Alright, dropping in them mules. How are we doing on barracks? Well, how many barracks do we have? We've got 4. We need one more.
In the rear. With
There it is. Now, let's get that factory. We got the gas for it. Let's get that engine. Oh, yeah, supply depot. Let's get that.
This better be good.
Alright, cool. More Marines coming on out. That's great.
Not
That's
enough
great.
minerals.
Alright, resetting some cameras, dropping some mules,
Ready.
and adding our factory into this equation. Keeping that production up, dropping more mules.
SCV
Alright.
ready.
So, now we're going to get our second...
Bad news.
No, we're going to get our armory as soon as that factory is done. And
SCV ready.
should be about now. Second engineering bay. Second refinery.
Additional upgrade.
Awesome.
SCV ready.
Look at that. Alright, we're going to be floating some gas until we actually start the next upgrade. So there it
Additional
is.
supply depots required.
We've got +1, so we're going to go get some work done. See what I did there?
Additional supply depots required.
We're going to go find them. We need supply depots still. Okay, great, great. There we go. More supply. Help ourselves out with that because we are attacking and we want to be effective. Alright.
Big job, huh?
get ourselves the next
Additional supply depots required.
base. There we go. Bam, bam. Some more barracks. Some more
Not
of
enough
this.
minerals.
Some more
Not
of
enough
this.
minerals.
We could use some help here.
All right. Well, we know where our opponent is at. Let's go this way.
Not enough minerals.
This better be good. You gonna give me orders?
Add-on complete.
Go, go, go. There's our new rally point. We're making it happen. And we're also going to start incorporating in
Not enough minerals.
some of these guys.
Help here. Go, go, go.
Use the map to get as good of a position as we can. Alright, so we trade as well as we can. That's the idea. Make sure that we're staying on top of our macro.
Not
And
enough minerals.
whoa, I never saturated this gas all the way. Okay, that was a mistake. Cool.
This
We're
better
rallying out, spending our minerals, and we really are banking up the gas. Alright,
be piece of me, boy.
so what does that tell us? That tells us that we need some more minerals so that we can actually afford our upgrades on time. There we go, that's feeling better. Now, let's get some tech lab action, some reactor action. Yep, alright. Let's look at what we got here.
Been waiting on you.
We've got ourselves a decent little force.
Upgrade complete.
Let's go this way. Let's get some reactors. Alright. Oh,
Add-on complete.
before we head out, we're going to take our third, because that sounds like a great idea, given that our opponent has one. Alright, let's be mindful
Ready. This better be good.
and get all of these units.
So, you gonna give me
Unacceptable. Add-on complete.
More of those. Cool. Okay. You guys, you come over here. Take out that dude. Alright. We've got way...
Add-on complete.
Here we go. Let's go. Let's go.
We could use some help here. Go, go, go.
Additional supply depots required.
It's heating up out here.
Alright.
Armed and ready.
Add-on
We've got lots of minerals just hanging out. So we need to amp up our production, which is what we are going to do.
Yo, we could use some help here.
There we go. We're going to add on another factory
SCV ready.
or two.
This better be good.
Our opponent is building banelings. That's a very smart decision. So we need some more of them fiery guys. Alright, let's go. We really need to get some work done on this base. And on that creep spread. Ooh, look at that creep spread. That's good.
depleted.
Alright. Let's get ourselves some combat shields.
Additional
How are we doing on
supply
upgrades?
depots
Upgrades are almost ready to go.
Coming through.
Upgrade. Additional supply depots required.
Oh, can't forget the basics though. There we go. Help ourselves out a little bit.
Not enough energy.
This better
Oh, so many banelings.
Complete.
Alright. I'll rally back out this way because we're going to have some problems here in a second.
SCV ready.
Let's go.
Orders? Better. Got any extra firepower? One piece of me, boy.
There we are. Can we get our +3? Yep,
Under
we can.
attack.
Hell that. Coming through.
Alright, let's go. This aggression will not stand, man. Trying to stay on top of our spending. Let's check our saturation levels. Alright, that's all fine. And we need to be building supply depots. Cool.
Mineral field depleted.
This better be good. Who wants some? Talk to me. Been waiting on you.
Cool. Alright.
Mineral field depleted.
Now,
Hellbat, coming through.
oh, you know what? Let's get Blue Flame. Let's do that. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea because we've got all this gas that we're not really using.
By the numbers, boys. Arm,
Alright, keep that macro up.
you gonna give me
Add-on complete.
you want a piece of me, boy? Been waiting. SCV ready.
Add-on complete.
Take that fight. Oh yeah. Loving it, loving it, loving it.
Mineral field depleted.
Oh, those Marines. They're doing it. Keeping it going.
Hellbat, go, go, go. Armed.
Keep the production going too.
SCVs are under attack.
Alright, where's that Blue Flame upgrade? Let's get that. Alright, sweet.
We could use some help here. Gateway, coming through. Hellbat, coming through. Got any extra firepower?
It's all good. These aren't the most effective things to be doing, but that's fine. We're just
You gonna give me orders?
brute forcing it, to put it into the words of a friend of mine.
By the numbers. Hellbat, coming through.
Alright, you're trying to get your drones off to safety. I understand, I understand.
Additional supply depots
Hellbat,
required.
coming through. This better be.
Not enough. Mineral field depleted.
But I'm gonna kill them all.
Not enough minerals.
Been waiting. This better be good.
Alright, let's go this way. Let's figure out what's going on.
Hellbat,
Like, hey, how about we build some supply depots? Stuff like that. We only need to get a couple of more going.
biscuit.
And we're well saturated here. That's good.
Additional supply depots. Not enough minerals.
Alright, add into our control group.
You gonna give me orders? We could use some help here.
Research complete. Mineral field depleted.
Alright, this is pretty brutal.
Mineral field.
GG! GG. Let's see if we actually got ourselves a pass on this too. And then we'll go to break. So we're doing step 3 of the staircase method. And we worked ourselves out a little rough build order for get. Oh! It happened! Yes! First time, top 8 gold. Getting it done. Through practice, we're getting there. We're making progress, and I'm loving it. Cheers to all. It's been fun. Anyway, got top 8 gold. Doing some staircase practice. Loving it. We'll be platinum in no time at all. So let's go to ggtracker.com and see if we hit our metrics before heading off to break, because I'm about to burst because I've put down that pint of water like it was, well, there's words. You can imagine them. So I'm going to take a second here, get logged into GG Tracker. Yeah, okay, because we want to see if our little build order that we put together was effective, not just in winning that game, which it clearly was, but we want to see if it was effective in meeting our metrics for the staircase method. Because that is going to determine when we can move forward to step 4. So you guys don't need to be seeing me logging in, so don't mind. I'll get the upload happening, and then once it's uploaded, we'll bust a move over to this display. All right, so yep, that was Catalina. Yay. Okay, here we go. Loading. Finished loading. Let's take a look. Here's the browser window. There we go. Okay, spending skill was good. It was a best. And it's way beyond what I'm shooting for. I'm shooting for platinum or higher, so spending skill was fantastic. I'm feeling a little wonky about whether my saturation speeds were good. Okay, so this is good. This is good. Why is it that our first base income was slow? Any ideas? Well, we did a barracks and then an expand. That shouldn't have had an effect. Did we start our refinery before we had 16 mineral SCVs? Probably. Probably. So, I don't really feel like that's necessarily solvable, but I don't know. So, I'm kind of calling this a pass in my brain. Maybe I'm mistaken about all of that, but we'll see. We'll see. And how about that APM? A-Chill's APM was 200 at 18 minutes into the game. Mine was 78. 78. Okay, anything else in this that we need to be thinking about? Nope. 100% energy usage. Right? I never hit 200 energy or max energy on my orbitals. That's good. We were aggressive. You know, we attacked at, let's see, when it actually landed was about 10 minutes 19. That's a good time to have a first attack. Kept it going for, you know, a little while, and then attacked another 3 minutes, you know, or 2 minutes later. You know, I like that. We probably could have had ourselves an attack in here as well. We probably could have. Anyway, those are just some of my thoughts on looking at the GG Tracker data. The important part is that we found ourselves a reasonable build order to use in step 3 of the staircase method, and I feel a lot more confident that I can go onto the ladder and be effective with step 3 and still meet those metrics. In this last game, my first base mineral income seemed to be on the slow side. It was gold level. I don't know if that's solvable given the build that I'm doing, but we'll keep our eye on it moving forward. Because I don't really think that there's much way around it in order to hit the timings that we're looking to hit. And if that's the case, you know, that's the case. And as I've said before, the second base and third base saturation speeds are a lot more important than the first because of the nature of the game and the way the timings roll out. So, anyway, I'm glad that you were here to see me hitting top gold and practicing the step 3 of the staircase method. This was episode 5 of Cheap Love, where we explore the economic relationships, the nitty-gritty, the dirty, the frothy. Within StarCraft 2, we began Chapter 2 of Leah's Seduction, which was so many sick burns over there. That was an interesting read. Gianni was taken by surprise at who he thought he was meeting. Anyway, so we worked out a build order-ish to use for Step 3 of the staircase. Hope that was helpful to you guys. I'm going to take a break, get some water, some food, chill out for a bit, and then I'll be back on, and I want to hit some more of that ladder action with this new build for Step 3 of the staircase method. So have fun, enjoy your afternoon, and I will be back. I will. Don't worry. It's okay. At some point I'm going to hit the stop button. It might be any second.